So I think I'm actually coming back from a part 1 of the original video, and we're just gonna be kicking it off right away. You know what you're doing if you're here. We're gonna be checking out episodes 4 through 8 of Heartstopper. I'm just excited. I hope you guys are too. If you're coming back to part 2, make sure that you've watched part 1 before this, but we're just gonna hop right into it. So in episode 5, we've got Friend, and remember at the end of episode 4, Imogen has now asked out Nick. Nick said yes because he felt pressure by his friends. And of course, Tao and Elle overheard this, and they don't know how to tell Charlie. Because how would you tell your best friend, oh yeah, by the way, the boy that you like, he's actually going on a date with a girl right now. I know that you two supposedly have a thing, but I know I mentioned it in the end of last episode, but Isaac is just so cute and sweet, and I just love Isaac. To add even more insult to injury, and I can't believe they did this to me because they were pulling up my heartstring, Imogen's dog actually died the night before. So as Nick was getting ready to break off the date with Imogen, how are you supposed to say no at that point? I feel so bad for Imogen and the dog. Tore at my emotions because then Charlie's just gonna keep on getting hurt, and then Nick is gonna feel confused, and Imogen's gonna have no idea and eventually get hurt. So just F me, right? But another good thing that Nick does is that Harry, you remember Harry, the guy that I told you about, the complete dick, that's one of the teammates and one of Nick's friends. He's continuing to be a complete dick to Charlie and Tao. So Nick comes to actually save the day and stand up to Harry, which I love. And he continues to do so throughout the rest of the season until he finally realizes, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't be friends with a guy like this. So Nick is continuing to struggle with the idea of, should I actually go out with this girl or should I go hang out with Charlie? Because it's actually Charlie's birthday party. And I mean, of course, we know who he should be actually hanging out with. So he decides to talk to his mom about it, and he doesn't know what to do. And there was an actual quote from his mom that I love.
Yeah, you know, you shouldn't go out with someone just because you feel sorry for them.
And for any of you all listening out there, that is such a true fact. Don't go out with someone just because you feel sorry for them. You can be their friends, you can talk to them, you can be supportive, but you should not toy with them or lead them on if you don't have the intention of replicating those feelings at all, if you know what I mean. In a surprise twist, Nick actually shows up to the bowling party with Charlie, and it's so cute. Again, this is where I start feeling bad for Imogen because her dog just died and Nick's kind of leaving her on red, and you know what I mean? But he did go to the right party, and Charlie is overjoyed. And anytime I see Charlie happy, I am just a happy, giddy little school child. So as the night progresses, we can tell that Tao is still very pissed off at the whole situation and does not trust Nick whatsoever, which is fair, but it kind of gets to that point again where I'm like, Tao, come on, give the guy a chance a little bit. But in a good twist of events that I didn't see coming, Nick actually comes clean to Charlie about the whole date, tells him everything, literally down to he was feeling bad about her dog and didn't know what to do. And Charlie is just so happy to hear this. And this is a great point to say, honesty is actually worth it, kids. You should just be honest with the other person and they'll actually listen to you. That's one of the things I love about this show so much, is it's not overly dramatic. It has points that raise the tension and question things, but it lets you really deal with them in your own way, how someone in the real world would actually deal with them. And also, I have to go ahead and point out another little quote that I love there that Nick says to Charlie.
I should have met you when I was younger.
Why does this show keep on doing what the literal title is, Heartstopper? Because I need it to be resuscitated at some point or another. Also, to stop it even further, they actually have their first official kiss in public. You can start to see Nick is trying his best to actually be there for Charlie. He sees what Charlie's been put through with Ben, and he knows that he doesn't want to do that to him as well. Oh, also, just got to point this out again. Tao and Elle? Question mark? Going on the Nick bandwagon train, Nick actually decides to meet up with Imogen to talk it out and does the respectable thing and tells her that he just does not feel that way about her, and it's just respectful, it's honest, it's sweet, and you can also see, and I kind of appreciate that about Imogen's character, she notices and she's like, wait a second, are you into somebody else? Are you maybe potentially gay or bisexual or what's going on? I don't know. I just really like that little eye contact that they had, and that is the end of episode 5. So in episode 6, we have the title of Girls, and oh my God, do we have a lot of drama in this episode. But Nick is trying to figure out what his actual sexual orientation is, and he's starting to research more about bisexuality, which I found was really fascinating. We've just got every little bit of spectrum going on during this show. And we've also got, on the other side of things, Elle is texting constantly back and forth with with Tao. And Darcy and Tara are starting to pick up on this and start to question Elle, yo, do you got a crush on this boy? Which I've been saying for the entire first season, and let's all say it together. Yes, she does, because she finally admits it. She admits that she has feelings for Tao, and it's so sweet and wonderful, but she also doesn't want to mess up their friendship because she's been dealing with so much change, so she wants to at least keep this friendship the same. Then we figure out that this episode is going to be centered around a musical concert where it's joining both schools, the all-girls school and the all-boys school. So Tara, Darcy, and Charlie are all going to be in the concert together. So Nick invites Charlie to go to the concert, but to also go for milkshakes with Tara and Darcy beforehand, which is a huge step up yet again, and it's so cute. And also I have to point out this, Harry keeps on being a dick to Charlie and Tao the entire time, but Tao literally keeps burning him down to the ground. I don't know why Harry keeps trying it, because every time he has a line to say to Tao, Tao just flips it around, throws it right back at him and says, yo, pick that up off the ground. So this is actually the first time that Nick comes out to someone in this episode. He is talking with Tara and talking about their old relationship and tells her that he's actually going out with Charlie, and it is so cute and so sweet. And I found another thing kind of interesting. He asked Tara if she knows if she's fully gay, if she's bisexual, and she kind of hurts him a little bit and says, you know what, when we were 13 and we'd have that kiss, you know, remember back then? Yeah, that's when it solidified for me that I am completely gay. I don't know why people tell guys or girl at any time. It's like, yo, you person, you're the one that solidified it for me that I'm actually not homosexual. I'm not actually heterosexual. Thank you very much. Oh, also another little thing that I started to love, when they show up to the milkshake date, it ends up being a triple date. It's not only Charlie and Nick, it's not only Tara and Darcy, it ends up being Elle and Tao as well. Now, Elle and Tao have no idea about this, but Elle starts to pick up on it. But Darcy keeps on throwing in little hints towards Tao and Elle and just is like running her mouth a little bit too much. But as the date progresses, Elle starts to pick up on the fact that everybody there is kind of shipping her and Tao, and it becomes a little bit more awkward, and Darcy just does not know how to keep quiet, so she feels kind of betrayed. So it's a little bit of a touchy subject as they keep going on. Also, by the way, why in the world does Nick like bubblegum flavored milkshake? A random tidbit, but why?
I cannot believe you're disrespecting bubblegum flavor in front of me.
So as they are heading off towards the musical concert, I found this moment so cute, and it was just kind of a throwaway thing, a little bit in Tao's eyes, but Elle leans into Tao as they're walking up to the concert and says,
I really love you.
Oh, I love you too.
And Tao took it as a friendship thing, but I think, and the rest of the audience thinks, yeah, no, I meant that, homeboy. You gotta like listen to the words I'm saying right now. Also, I had a little bit of a band geek out, freak out moment. They show up to the concert 10 minutes before it happens and are just expecting to be warmed up, ready to go, musical instruments out, all this stuff. If I had that sort of energy when I was in school, I would have had my butt ringed out on the sideline before I even got up there to play the drum set. Oh, also, by the way, I played the drums when I was younger. They don't have anybody in there about 10 minutes before the concert starts. They open up the doors and literally 5 minutes later, completely have a full house. Like, I don't know how fast those people were coming in there, but it seemed like breakneck pace. So before the concert actually starts, Tara is getting more and more pressured from the whole school talking about her relationship with Darcy. So she runs off and Darcy follows after her, and they go into the old room that they used to go into to make out and accidentally get locked in. But luckily we've got Tao, Charlie, and Nick to the rescue. They're running through the halls. It's such a cute montage, and they actually find them. They're able to bring them back to the concert, and they're actually all able to play at the end of the day. But guess what? The biggest FU moment of the entire episode, we don't get to hear the concert at all. What the heck? The entire thing built up to the concert, but we didn't actually get to hear any of the concert. That just made me so upset. So as we're heading towards the back half of the end of the season, we've got episode 7, which is Bully, and this episode was so hard to get through. Harry, Ben, they're out for vengeance.
I'm vengeance.
So at the start of this episode, we find out Charlie's actually going to the movie theater with Nick and his friends. He thinks that Harry and Ben are not going to actually be there. Well, surprise alert, Harry and Ben are actually going to the movies too. So it becomes instantly more awkward because Harry does not know how to shut the up, and he keeps on rubbing salt in the wound of Charlie, and it pisses me off the entire time. As they get there, they sit next to each other, Nick and Charlie. They start watching this horror film, and you all know what goes down in a horror film. I was so proud of Nick because Nick actually decides to hold Charlie's hand in the movie out in public right next to his friends. It's very scandalous. And of course, guess who's standing over top of them? It's Ben. And guess who ends up seeing them holding hands? Yep, surprise alert, it's Ben. But as they're going outside of the theater, Harry just can't help himself. And I wrote this twice. Harry is a dick. Harry is a We have no backstory to Harry. He just seems like a prick to be a prick. It may be his father's fault, maybe mommy's fault. I don't give a He's still a dick and a Harry literally does not know how to shut his mouth, to the point that Charlie walks out of the theater, goes out to his dad's car, but before he can get there, guess who shows up? Ben! And guess what Ben has to say? I saw you holding hands, my guy. Did you actually not like me? Do you like him now? I'm still a terrible person, even though I'm going through a lot of emotional stuff and don't know how to shut up. Oh, it drove me so nuts. And of course, Charlie's dad is there for him. Charlie's able to get to the car, get inside, and his dad is just concerned. He knows something's wrong, doesn't get it out of Charlie because Charlie doesn't know how to handle it completely yet. But then we go back to Nick, who goes back inside the theater and doesn't follow after Charlie, which was kind of a bad move on Nick's part, but also kind of a good thing because of what happens next. And Harry is just spouting off all of this homophobic, terrible nonsense, and Nick hears it and gets so pissed off that he freaking decks Harry, and it was the most satisfying punch. It was a boom, and I was hyping him up. I'm like, I got you on the 1-2 on the back end. I'm so loving this. And then they get into a whole big fight, and it was just everything I wanted. Oh, and also I have to point this out again. Harry tries to burn Tao again, and guess who gets the final ring around twist 360 no scope? It's Tao, baby, because Harry does not know how to shut up. So towards the end of this episode, we start to see that rhetoric again of Charlie trying to tell Nick that he's just used to being bullied, that Nick shouldn't be putting himself out of his way, because he finds out that Nick was actually in a fight with Harry, but Nick tries to convince Charlie to figure out that you shouldn't be bullied. You shouldn't expect to be bullied. You shouldn't be okay with being bullied. But Ben has had his roots so deep into Charlie that this is how he should feel, that Charlie doesn't even know how to feel like a normal person anymore. But of course, if we didn't have enough spice, like terribleness happened in this episode, Tao actually finds out about Charlie and Nick, but then realizes that the entire friend group, and I'm talking Elle, Darcy, Tara, Nick, Charlie, they all knew about it, and Isaac, except for Tao. And what do you think Tao is? He's pissed. He's very pissed. To try to cheer him up, Elle actually ends up going over to Tao's house to see what he's feeling, how is he processing everything, and figures out that Tao is just really feeling alone, which is what I was kind of expecting this whole time. You have your best friend and you feel like you're losing them, so you just get defensive and angry about whoever's doing it, not to think that that person might actually be okay. But there was also just something so cute. They ended up doing a drawing because Tao's actually in a drawing class, but Elle's actually really talented. And at the end of it, she actually writes a signature, and I almost squealed when I read it. I literally wrote A in my notes as I was watching it. If you didn't think we had enough drama in the episode, Harry just can't keep his mouth shut again. And guess what? This time, him and Tao actually get in a fist fight, and it just breaks up into this terrible nonsense. Neither of them actually win, but Tao is just so hurt about everything. And then Charlie comes out trying to see if Tao's okay. And then Tao just flips on him and says, "Why didn't you tell me about you and Nick?" Charlie doesn't know what to say. Tao walks off, and that's the end of the episode. And if you think we hadn't had enough, we're into season 1 finale, baby, and the final episode number 8, is called Boyfriend. And you better believe I was getting my hopes up the second I saw the title of that episode. I also found it was kind of funny, but Charlie's sister at the beginning of this episode is able to just read Charlie like a complete book, and we don't get to have that many interactions except at Charlie's house, and it's very intermittent throughout the season, but you can just tell that Charlie's sister cares so much about him, but doesn't always let her cards out on the table, kind of wants Charlie to come to his own realization, but she just sees through all the between him, Nick, Tao, and all of it. And I just found it so funny. But the saddest thing is that Charlie is just completely down right now. He feels very alone, that Nick is not there with him, that Tao doesn't want to talk to him, and that he thinks that he's the problem for everything yet again, which he's not.
Maybe I do just ruin people's lives. It'd be better if I didn't exist.
When I heard him say that, like, my heart just leapt down into the deepest depths. I just wanted to reach out, give him a hug, and say, look, it's gonna be okay. I promise you, you deserve more, you deserve better. But he's got to figure that out on his own. And this next part of the episode was really just the final low point before we have the rise of this episode. Charlie ends up quitting the rugby team because he feels like he's just being a burden to everyone. So this is like rock bottom for this show. But then we have a little bit of a shining light come through because Nick decides to have lunch with Tao because he can't find Charlie. So Tao and Nick kind of basically just shoot the like, they're not mad at each other necessarily. They're both just kind of upset about different things that doesn't really relate to one another. But Nick ends up telling Tao that he thinks that Charlie was just scared to even tell Tao about him and Nick. He didn't want Tao to feel alone, which is exactly how Tao was feeling. But Tao was hurt because he felt like he should have been told about this. So it was just a bad situation. But I think this is where Tao starts to finally respect and accept Nick as Charlie's new friend, crush, whatever you want to call it at this point. But as Nick continues to try to talk to Charlie, he keeps on texting him, calling him, trying to find him at school, but Charlie just will not respond. Don't worry, we've got some positive stuff happening. Elle is now coming back because they are having a field day between both schools again, so we get to have everybody joining up again, and has the confidence to come back into school. And I was just like trying to stand up and cheer like, yes, you go girl, you got this is amazing. Tara and Darcy are there to back you up. Yes, 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 please. But another thing that I found fascinating about this is as Charlie has been going throughout all of his problems leading back until the year before when he first came out and had all those issues, he has found solace and kind of a little bit of comfort in a homosexual teacher that he is talked to around lunchtime. The teacher actually said a really good quote and I really, really liked it.
Don't let anyone make you disappear, Charlie.
Because you can't let anyone else get in your head to that point. You can't let anyone else dictate what sort of life you're gonna live based upon how you feel or who you wanna be around. Oh, also, we just have another wonderful moment. Charlie's getting ready to run in the race for Tao because Tao doesn't wanna run. And he and Ben are facing off against each other because of course they wanna toy with my emotions. And yet again, Ben is an he had to throw in this just homophobic little turd muffin sentence. And guess what? Charlie kicks his in the race, and then finally, for the hopeful final time, stands up to Ben and tells him to leave him alone, stop trying to use him as an emotional punching bag, acknowledges that he may be going through some stuff, which I thought was a really big moment for Charlie, and then is able to walk off in confidence. And then finally, we get the makeup between Charlie and Tao. They both apologize to each other. It's so sweet, and then Isaac just shows up being sweet as hell all over again. And then we find out that Tao actually can't draw to save his life, but then he says a line that confirms my three little question over and over again. Tao and Elle, question mark?
Everything's awful without you.
And I literally wrote this in all caps. Tao likes Elle. You can see it in his eyes. And it's the final nail in the coffin. We literally see the little animations popping up over top of them. You can just tell that Tao is obsessed with Elle. Elle is obsessed with Tao, but we don't actually get the confession. I'm assuming that we might develop that more in season 2, which I hope to God we get a season 2. So the final big thing of episode 8 is the rugby game, and the announcer literally kicked off the game saying what I was thinking the entire time.
Can someone explain the rules of rugby to me again, please?
And that was me. I've been watching this whole season. I'm like, oh yeah, you go get that ball. Oh, you get that tackle. I have no idea how rugby is played. I don't know how points are scored. I don't know what the rules are. I don't know what's illegal and what's not illegal. The people in the show are literally saying it too. So as they're going through the game, Nick is just killing it. He's doing a great job, but Charlie's not actually on the field, and Nick keeps on looking for Charlie. Can't find him. We look over at the crowd and we see Charlie standing over top of the crowd. He's watching the game, having a great time, but then he kind of feels like, oh, I don't know if I can be here, starts to walk away, and then Nick literally walks off the field, grabs Charlie's hand in public, walks off to finally talk to him, to tell him, look, I want to be with you. I don't want us to break up. I want to be together, you and me, in public. It is the sweetest, most amazing little moment, and I almost died, and I was having such a great time. And then they kiss in public, and it's so great. Now, they haven't come out to everybody, and they don't want to put it on blast, but then Nick takes Charlie on a trip, and they go to the ocean, and it is the sweetest, cutest little montage that we have, and they are playing on the beach, they're having a good time, and they kiss each other over and over again. It's so sweet. And then they have another conversation where they're like, look, and as the title of the episode says, I want to be your boyfriend. And they are finally come together as boyfriends, and I am just losing it yet again. And I think this summed up the way that this season has felt the entire time. Nick says this:
I want to tell the people who matter, and I want you to be able to tell people too.
And that's a cool point. It's like, look, we don't have to be out loud and proud if that's not your style, but you should be able to tell your family, your friends, the people that are closest to you, how you really feel and who you feel that about.
I never thought this would happen to me.
And that is just so sweet and sad at the same time. Like, you realize all the pain that Charlie's been through, all the emotional trauma that Ben put him through. He never thought he could just get what should be given to someone like him, which is just a happy, loving relationship. And I was just losing it. It was so sweet, so cute. And then to end the episode, we have Nick finally come out to his mother, who is only just happy for him and accepts him in the most perfect way possible. And then we finally can see it. Charlie is truly happy. Oh my God, that was such a roller coaster of a video, or a couple of videos. I absolutely adored season 1 of Heartstopper. There is so much that I could talk about. I'll keep it brief because I've just kind of told you all my big in-depth thoughts as we've gone along over these past 2 videos. I love how real it felt. It felt like there was nothing overly dramatized. There was nothing overly done. It just felt real, authentic, and adorable. It was just so cool to see the different spectrums, and such an ingenious ideas of saying we're gonna have an all-boys school, an all-girls school, and we're gonna deal with these sorts of relationships and these sorts of dynamics. It was so good. I loved everyone in the cast. I loved all the relationships built. I don't know where they're gonna go in season 2 outside of Tao and Elle, and maybe developing out Ben's character. I know we all hate him, but I think that he's going through a lot of stuff, so I'd be really interested to see if he could have a turnaround. That would be really cool. And I want to see how Nick and Charlie's relationship progresses. It's gonna be really cool to see that, and I just love it, and I've been having such a fun time with it. I hope that you guys enjoyed these past 2 videos of me going through my Heartstopper journey. It was so much fun. I loved every second of it. But also, you guys have to let me know if you like this new style of content of me talking through the plot line and my feelings and that sort of stuff. Let me know if you want to see more of these styles of videos. It's a lot of work, but I think it would be a lot of fun to do more of those on the channel as well. But if you like what you saw here today and you want to see more, if you could please hit that subscribe button and that like button, share the video, show this to other people, show this around to your families, your friends, your neighbors, your dogs, your parents' dogs. Also leave a comment down below of what's your favorite moment from Heartstopper season 1 and what you want to see in season 2. Don't forget to check me out at all my social medias, linked down below, and don't forget to check me out on my Twitch, where we stream every single time a new video goes live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Head over there, talk to me. We can talk about Heartstopper all night long. It'll be a great time. And don't forget to check out my Patreon for, yes, again, it is the entire first season of Heartstopper. Episode 1 through 8, full-length reactions are over there, so go check them out. Besides all that, I'll Heartstopper season 1, part 2, you all in another one.